right. It's love in black and white. We put the love back in you, right? It's love in black and white. We put the love back in you, right? It's love in black and white. We put the love back in you, right? It's love in black and white.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Love in Black and White, where each week we try to.
The love back in your right.
I'm one of your hosts, Big Irish J. Hollingsworth, and as always, we have the Coco co-host, the Black Don Juan, Big Daddy Cain and Abel, Manulus Rojas Martin Junior.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Did you tip your imaginary hat?
That was my imaginary sombrero. So racist.
Jesus. Quick shout out to what do we call it? The Milanos. Milano cookies. That could be our phone.
There you go.
And
I thought we
got
had
Leah in here, San Francisco 49er girl, Victoria, Michael Joseph, and that's it for right now. Just starting it up. And me and Manny were just singing Sean McCann's version of Love in Black and White.
What's going on, Javon?
Javon Linton, I love your tea. Or no, that's Lipton. Sorry. All right. Did we have a teaser from last week?
We did. Okay. The question was, Jay.
Yes.
What would you do if you had a teenager who had a baby? What would you do if that teenager were you? So 2-part question. Part 1, what would you do if you were a parent? What would you do if a teenager, your teenager, had a baby? And then the second part of that is, what would you do if you were that teenager? Let's say the teenager in both scenarios is 16. How would you handle that? One is a parent, and then one is an individual. What up, Sanders?
Yeah, what up, Sanders? What up,
Alice?
Mariah? Oh, man, so I have a kid that's and is it guy or girl?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying does it matter or
doesn't matter? Let's do both scenarios. One is a boy, one's a girl.
The boy, I was gonna say, I told you what Grandpa used to say. No, I mean I guess Jesus, what would you do? So he comes to me. Son comes to me, he's like, I got this girl pregnant. I'm like, oh Lord. Scotty J, Retro Geek, what's up?
Yeah.
Victoria said, take the baby from them, then send them to boarding school.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
My son is 16, he's into cars, so I don't see a future of being a grandma anytime soon. And that Sanders said, and you have twins.
That would suck.
Oh man, I don't know. I it's like I have a buddy. I won't say just because I don't know if you want to.
We got to stop saying people's names on this show.
But he was on the varsity basketball team, and then got this girl pregnant, had to quit the team, get a job, and it all worked out. Now I guess you'd say Yes, it did. And now he's a grandpa. But
it's crazy. Just to kind of on that note, there was a documentary on like a basketball kind of diary thing, and there was the guy side and there was a girl side, and then they showed the guy having becoming a young dad, but they showed the girl, she had to quit basketball, and you know what I mean. It's like you can't play pregnant, and so it's just like the level that you have to deal with shit on that side.
It'd be like double teaming somebody. 2 on 1. Just Michael said, just shows that kids ruin your life. Michael coming in hot. What up, Sandy? Sandy. I guess at that point, if she's pregnant, what up, Kay? If she's pregnant, if the girl's pregnant, it's past the giving advice or like
right.
you
I
know,
missed that window.
preventative. So I guess it's if it's your son, then you're like, okay, well, what is she gonna do? Does she want to have the kid? Does she not want to have the kid?
Right.
I guess you're just there to support at that point. I mean, fuck, dude, that's a tough.
Yeah.
know.
Fuck. I guess if I'm gonna take that, so first,
Miles.
So Miles comes to me. I'm pretty sure that if he's 16 and has a kid on the way, then I'm gonna be the one raising that motherfucker.
Right.
So, you know, that's a thing you have to think about. Is like, well, shit, do I even get paternity leave for this new child? You know what I mean? Like,
that's the first thing you think about. You're like, paternity leave's been nice.
You know, what's so funny is I think about what my mom used to tell me. She was like, because if you have a fucking baby when, you know, she was like, if you have a baby when you were fucking, you know, a teenager, I'm gonna be raising it. So you better not get anybody pregnant. And so, yeah.
Leah said, why is it that people who don't have any children appear younger?
Yeah. So
Stress.
true.
Yeah. So what would you just be like? All right, Miles. Well, I mean,
I would definitely be like, all right, well, you're grounded until you're at least 19. You know what I mean? Or as long as you're in my house, now you got to get a job because you're gonna help me support this kid. But you know, I guess I'm gonna be raising it. Yeah, exactly. I'm with San Francisco 49er girl. I want that tax write off. So
would you have Miles name his son Kilometers? Yards, feet.
Oh man.
Sandy said she misses seeing Kay on my video game lives. I guess he doesn't do those anymore. I'm right here, Sandy. You say that like I'm not in the room. I guess he don't do that anymore. I've been going back and forth. Like I just started playing Grand Theft Auto again. Messing around with that. There's so many games that have come out.
How long does it take to level up in that when you're online?
I don't even know. I when it first came out, I played it hardcore. Then I stopped playing it, and Sean plays it a lot.
What up, Robert? What up, Kay?
I'm talking to her. All right, I'll get back on it, Sandy.
You know what's so funny though is I jumped on Grand Theft Auto online, and I played like one mission, and then I just was driving around the city, and there were just people trying to kill me, and I was like, this shit is stressful, man. Is somebody trying to run me over? I'm just walking down the street.
Dude, I literally, so whenever I play Grand Theft Auto, like I make my dude look just like me. So my character has a flat cap on, white. Right. He has a baby blue hoodie, some jeans, and some shell toes. And I was just trying to get a car like my car, and I drove to this place. All of a sudden, this dude just shoots me out of the blue. I'm like, hey, motherfucker. So I waited. I came back, and then I was like way far away from him. And he was in the store or something, so I couldn't shoot him. So I just sniped him as soon as he came out of the store. And then I was like, bye, I'm out. It's like, I get the last laugh, you fuck. But okay, so that was, you would basically, Miles, you'd be like, all right, you got to get a job.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not doing any more kind of curricular activities. I mean, unless you're like a star athlete, I guess. But you know,
so I guess you're a star athlete,
you're like Michael Jordan, and then it's like, you know. So wait, okay. So N brought up a good point. Wait, hold on. So wait, what does Scotty J say? Vice City is my jam. Being an '80s kid and all. Oh hell yeah! Like the soundtrack to Vice City on point. So N, for anybody listening, says, oh yeah, welcome in. Says you're 16-year-old and you're a 16-year-old and a basketball prodigy going straight to the NBA, and the girl is still in her first trimester. What do you do? So I guess that would be our situation if we were the 16-year-old.
Yeah, and why couldn't it be a science prodigy?
Yeah, exactly. Is it because no, just kidding. Because we're colored.
Jesus. Leah said, and straight to the clinic for her. God damn. I'll get on tonight, Sandy.
You know, some people, you know, and to each their own, you know, I truly believe it is a woman's choice at the end of the day. You know, I don't think that men should really have a huge, you know, if you say what you want to say, but ultimately it's between her and her doctor. So that's where I stand. You know, I'm not saying my opinions are right, but you know,
dude,
that's your choice.
I saw the other topic. I just saw the video the other day. Nick Cannon.
Oh God,
dude, that is brutal. So if people don't know, Nick Cannon's son Zen, he was 5 months old. Is that right? dude, cross her ass over dunk, call a timeout and leave the arena. Sanders said, Jesus. Our listeners are ruthless. But yeah, Nick Cannon went on. Is that his own talk show?
Yeah, that's his talk show. So he has his own talk show in the afternoons, probably about like 2 or 3 in the afternoons, like right after Maury Povich or some shit like that.
Yeah. So he went on and he talked about Zen was born and his son had like a big head, but like the Cannons always have big heads, so
right.
They didn't think
he had like a nasal issue, and they took him in to get an examination on the nasal issue. Doctor said it was nothing, and then I think they found a tumor, and then it just sped up and grew crazy fast and ended up killing their 5-month-old baby, which is just, oh god, heartbreaking, man. It's so scary as a parent because you just don't know what's going on. It's like with Miles, he's 2.5 months, and I'm like, oh, and here's the thing, you hear what's going on with Nick's kid, and I'm just like, oh, my kid's got a big head, you know what I mean? I got a big head, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, Miles sniffles at night, and then he sneezes every now and then, but I'm also chalking it up to we got a lot of fucking cat hair in the house. So it's just like, man, it's sad,
brutal.
I couldn't fathom it. I always worry about Miles in every way, shape, and form. Being a parent, just it sets up these new triggers where I'm just like, if Crystal leaves the house, I'm like, is everything okay? You guys good? And it's, you're walking around, what you're doing this, and so
dude,
it's tough not to be there and be able to protect them.
Yeah, and before this, like Nick Cannon, depending on how the wind blows with social media and like the public, sometimes people shit on him or this or that. Dude, I always defend Nick Cannon. From
and you've worked with him.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I remember, again, this is 7-8 years ago. I'm at the parlor and I see a list of like, the comics coming up, and I see Nick Cannon, and my first thought was like, Nick Cannon. That was like, Nick Cannon does stand-up? What the fuck? And then I found out, oh, he did the Bay Area Black Comedy Competition when he was like 17. And then when I met him and worked with him, the nicest fucking guy, just humble, nice dude. And like in his stand-up, he addresses everything that you would maybe want to shit on him about. He calls it all out. And he
was going through with Eminem at that time, and it was part of his act, and like, so.
Dude, he's a great dude, nice dude. So I was like, fuck, man, that was brutal watching that video. So I mean, prayers with him and his family, and I can't even imagine. And then to like go on TV and recount that pretty open wound,
Yeah, dude, that's it's rough.
I want to catch up on these comments. Let's see. God bless Nick Cannon. It's so sad. You never know. Prayers for Nick and his family. Yeah. Poor baby had brain cancer. Super heartbreaking. San Francisco 49er girl said, I still check if my 10-year-old is breathing. Yeah. Victoria said, Manny, question. How early can you get Miles tested to see what allergies he has? Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. I feel like it's somewhere like after like 5 or 6 months. It's not early. You know what I mean? You can't, or I don't even know. Let me see. I'll Google it. Well, Google it and let us know.
While you're doing that, I'll read some comments if you want to do that. Sandy said there's other symptoms too, but you have to be your own advocate. Take it from a cancer survivor, Sandy. Don't think you're disrespecting the doctor by challenging their responses ever. Victoria said, I remember people brought gifts for Mariah since she was pregnant. Natasha, late but ready for love in black and white. Welcome, Natasha. Could be allergic to your cats. Crazy Cutie, what's up? Just dropping in to say hi from Twitch. What up, Crazy?
Yeah.
Allergies can evolve over time. It's not a one and done thing. Yeah, I had my crazy thing, dude, terrifying.
Oh, when yeah. Tell them about the story?
Yeah. Did you find anything?
Yeah. So 6 months of age, you can test for allergies.
Dude, I sound like you said 6 months of AIDS. 6 months of age. Okay. Cancer, yeah, that's right. Kay's also, I believe, cancer survivor, and she said cancer survivors stand up. My mom had cancer. Fuck. And dude, the way she passed was a weird. I wrote it down. I think I talked to UK about it. Not the UK, not the United Kingdom, but I think I talked to you, K, Ioka. I wrote down the what my mom had. It was something weird that at the time they told us that it was here it is, non-bacterial thrombotic endocrine NTE cancer. And they told us at the time that it's a blood clot. It shows up as blood clots in cadavers of people that are dead. But my mom had it while she was alive. It was fucking weird. And my mom was like, she had a mastectomy. That's how you say it, right?
Yeah.
And or she had breast cancer. I don't know. Mastectomy is dude, this is how dumb I am, and I hope I'm not trying to offend anybody. I just don't know. This is
where they removed the breast, right? So it's you
okay, so she didn't have that, but she had like I think she had a lump and they treated it, but she didn't have a breast removed. But it's crazy because my mom was like epitome of health, and like even in like at 80 something, they said like she had the heart of like a 40-year-old, and she played pickleball all the time and would beat younger people and stuff. And then the shit just happened. They thought it was COVID. They took her in for COVID multiple times. Yes, Natasha, in cadavers, the body's amazing but scary all at once. Yeah, they were telling me or telling the family that what she had is something that usually shows up in cadavers or dead people, and she had it, and it was fucking crazy. But the allergies thing, the allergy I had, Sandy, wait, dead bodies get cancer. It was crazy. Blood clots.
And actually, so this is actually pretty cool. You know, I'm a huge science nerd. I just read today they found a way to turn cancerous cells on themselves. So basically to kill themselves off. And so hopefully, I think in the next 20 years after we're dead, you know what I mean? I don't know if we'll live that long.
Well, I'm sure you will.
Who knows? I think you're going to live till 90. So.
Robert said, "What's pickleball?" Sorry, Robert. I think it might be a. It's like kind of like tennis, but with like a wiffle ball.
Yeah, and
so
it's like
a slower pace. Yeah, and the small wooden paddle.
The funniest,
a lot of old people do it.
I still cannot get what your mom said out of my head. That shit is the funniest shit. And you said it last week, I think, where you said,
"Oh God, why would you bring that up right now?" Jesus, man,
it's not the time. Never mind. All right, continue. So yes,
she was arguing with my stepdad. Oh man, Jay, you're not dumb. You're just not informed. Yeah, dumb. Oh, my allergies thing though. Yeah, that was. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody here like followed me. This is or saw it. I posted videos because I didn't know what the fuck was happening. This happened before COVID. This is probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I'll just tell you how the day went. This is getting off topic. It's not really like Love in Black and White, but I mean, it's allergies,
But in all honesty, here on Love in Black and White, we talk about the whole body. We talk about the beauty of it all, how we're made, how we survive, and love, because you got to love your body and treat it right. So
yes, so me, Sean, and I think Kyle, we went out to get Chinese food, had Chinese food at a place we hadn't been to before. We shared it, like we all had the same stuff. Was cool. I then left, and this was like around lunchtime. I went to my buddy Greg Wilson's stand-up class just to watch and support. And this is going to be kind of graphic because I don't know how else to explain it, but I'm sitting there in Greg Wilson's class. Yeah, there you go. The shit got real with the hat and flip. So I'm sitting there in Greg Wilson's class, and there's no other way to say it, but I had like an itchy asshole, which is very unusual. Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is weird. So got done with his class. I'm driving home, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta use the bathroom bad. So I get there. I remember Sean was outside smoking. I run upstairs, I pee. Thank God I made it in time. And then as I'm getting done, I look in the mirror at my back and because my ass is like itchy, but also like kind of on fire. My asshole, if you want specific. And it's like blotchy red everywhere. Like a rash, but also not any rash I'd ever seen before. So I'm freaking out because I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So I get back in the car. I'm about to head to the hospital. As I'm going out and Sean's smoking, I tell him, I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on. What up, Big Daddy Chris? I'm telling about when I had a weird reaction. They're allergies. So I tell Sean, I go, dude, something's not right. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to the hospital right now. So he hops in the car with me. We go to the hospital. We're waiting for a long time. Finally, they get me into like you're in the lobby, but to the left, to the left was like a little examining room.
Yeah.
So I'm in there, and the doctor's like, yeah, turn on your side. But my ass and asshole that's all out now is basically pointing to the lobby. And I'm like, hey, man, can you shut the fucking door? You know? And then I remember he's taking pictures on his phone. And I'm like, is this like for your personal stash, like later or what? He's like, oh, no, this goes up into the app. You know, I'm still like cracking jokes. Then they tell me they thought it was sepsis. I think that's what it is. It's called sepsis.
Yep.
Which is like, toxic. Yeah. And I was like, what? And so they immediately get me upstairs over the next like few days, because I was there for days. They had multiple doctors come in just going, I don't know what the fuck this is. I've never seen anything like this. My fingers swelled up.
Yeah. Became swollen.
I couldn't like bend them. They were so like swollen. I'm reading this. I got the black post, but there are a couple black Natasha Vincent, so I'm making sure I have the right one. Sandy, just reading your comment. Then I think on like the third day, and my eyes swole shut, and dude, it was fucking terrifying because everybody just came in and they're like, what the fuck is going on? So this guy finally, I think on like the third day, this guy comes in, kind of looks at it, he goes, yeah, it looks like allergies. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What kind of fucking allergies is this? So he's like, we're going to put you on some Benadryl and something else, blah, blah, blah. So they send me home. I think this is on like the third day. And by the way, at this point, these 3 nights I had been in the shitty hospital. I was living in Hawthorne, and I was like, it was like the one right by there. Long wait times and just, yeah, it wasn't good. So I go back home and I'm like, okay, I think things are getting better. And then I think I had like orange juice or something. Yeah, dude, totally, Robert. I had the nutty professor reaction. Next thing I know, I feel like my bottom lip is kind of like tingling. And I'm like, that's weird. And then I look in the mirror and it's just fucking gigantic.
Straight bubble gum.
Yeah. And then I called them. I'm like, hey, I just got out of the hospital. They said it was an allergic reaction, but my lips swelling up. I just started eating. They're like, yeah, you should probably come in because your throat might swell and then you won't be able to breathe. And I'm like, what? So me and Sean go to the fucking hospital again. We flew out there and they put me like they had taken some Zyrtec. They prescribed some Zyrtec and shit. The only thing I can think of is it was something from the Chinese place that we ate at that I had a weird reaction to because it was a place I'd never ate before. And yeah, I mean, I'm allergic to aspartame and Imitrex, which Imitrex is what they give you when you have migraines sometimes.
Yeah, I thought you were going to tell the story about the aspartame. Like people don't know, but you drank Snapple one time and that had aspartame in it.
Not Snapple. It was just diet sodas.
Just diet soda. Oh yeah, and then you were in the like, if I remember the story correctly, you were in the back of the ambulance, and they literally were asking your name over and over, and you're like, why are you keep asking me the same question? It's you said because you had given like 3 or 4 different answers or some shit like that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking way too much.
No, you're fine. But actually, on that note, I was gonna say, if you were to die and have your consciousness uploaded to the cloud to live in a virtual reality world, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Uploaded.
I love it,
dude. Such a great show, and hopefully the second season's coming out. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Upload. Who would you entrust to manage your account out of all your friends and family?
Oh boy, I mean, it would be one of you guys.
Of course.
You, it'd probably be you or Sean or Matt or Mark. Yeah.
The funny thing is, I just know me personally. Like, no matter what, I would make sure that your account was funded. But I would just be like, yo, you can't get the newest gear this week. I'm sorry. Like, money's a little tight right now. You know what I mean? But if you had, like, here's the thing. If you left all your investments to just go towards that account, I'd be like, all right, motherfucker, I got you. You know what I mean? I'd be checking in weekly, and managing your shit. So,
yeah. Sandy said, that's good to know, Jay, in case I ever get you something that has aspartame in it ever. Yeah. I'll tell I might have told it on HWP. I don't know. I'll try and tell it as quick as possible. basically, I was living with my buddy Randy Mengalenden, the Filipino assassin. We were doing martial arts back in the day, and roommates, and we were in the instructors program. And I was living with the Yates. That's right. Scratch that. I was living with the Yates. And we basically were doing the keto diet, and I was just doing whatever he told me. And he was like, well, to curb your craving for carbs, just drink diet sodas. So I went from never drinking diet shit, obviously, because I'm fat, to now I was doing like 6 or 7 in a day. So we had played hoop that day, and it was like 2 a.m, and I'm walking up the stairs, and I can feel my leg like going numb. And not only is it going numb, but the numbness is flowing up my body. So I get to the top of the stairs, and I wake Yates up, and I was like, dude, something's wrong. My leg's like going numb. And then typical guys, he was like, calm down. Your leg's just asleep, you fucking weirdo. Just go to bed. So I lay down in bed, and I can feel the numbness that's flowing into my hand, up my shoulder, into my side of my face. I called the paramedics. Paramedics came, and by the time they got there, I couldn't form a sentence. They were like, what's going on? So, first they knocked on the door, and Yates is like, did you call an ambulance? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, God, you're such a fucking hypochondriac. Fucking relax. So he lets them in, and they're like, what's going on? So I can't form a sentence. All I can say is leg, back, arm, head, leg, back. And I just keep repeating that. And then they say to Yates, they're like, is he normally like this? And Yates is like, no. And so, so then they kind of talk amongst themselves. And then they say to me, we don't want you to be alarmed. Yes, Sandy. They go, we don't want you to be alarmed, but we think you might be having a stroke, or I think they said muscular dystrophy or multiple something or something else. There was 2 things. I got to plug in. So
can you get muscular dystrophy later in life?
I don't know, dude. It was 2 things. One was a stroke or something else.
This sounds like the time I was high, and I like literally like all of my thoughts were behind me, and my body was in front of me, and I just like I couldn't move. This shit was crazy.
Yeah. So I get in the well, first I was like, they're like, okay, we're gonna get you in the ambulance. Hey, what's up, Divine Equinox? I'm talking about my crazy allergic reaction to aspartame. So they were like, okay, we're going to get you in the ambulance. And I was like, I'm trying to tell them that I can walk. Right. I was like, hey, walk. And they're like, no. We'll put you on the gurney or whatever the fucking thing's called. And I was like, all right, good luck, guys, getting me down the stairs.
I picture it going.
Yeah, exactly. They're just all squashed. So we then are in the ambulance, and they're asking me my dad's phone number. And this is back when you had to remember everybody's phone number.
Right.
So I just keep repeating my dad's number. We finally get to the hospital, and no shit, Scotty. We finally get to the hospital as I'm getting out of the ambulance. They asked me again, what's your dad's number? And I was like, I fucking told you like 8 times. They're like, dude, you've told us like 8 different numbers. So I was like, okay. Crazy. We're in the hospital. Yates is with me. And, again, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm having a stroke. I don't know if I'm dying. I don't know what. Mm-hmm. And Yates is like, hey, man, check out that Filipino nurse, dude. She's hot as shit. I'm like drooling. I'm like, fuck, cool. So every once in a while, one of the doctors or nurses would come in, and they would point at the clock, and they'd say, what time is it? And I'd be looking right at the clock saying some weird number. It was never the right thing. At about 7 or 8 in the morning, I throw up, and then I kind of come out of it. And so then I remember this little about 9 o'clock, this nerdy looking, he had a bow tie on, neurologist comes in, looks at all my shit, the MRI, CAT scan or whatever. And he goes, yeah, it looks like you had a migraine. And my head never hurt at all through this whole thing. I never had a headache. I was like, a migraine? He goes, yeah, you had a migraine with aphasia. He goes, your brain looks fine. You didn't have a stroke or anything. He obviously said it a little nicer. He's like, but he was like, yeah, you had a migraine with aphasia. The aphasia is what's causing you not to be able to speak. And I was like, and he's like, have you ever had migraines before? I was 30 at the time. Mm-hmm. I was like, I never had a migraine before, and my head didn't hurt. And he goes, well, it's a little weird. You're getting them later in life, but it's we'll have you come back in a week. So I was like, all right. So I've always been somebody that knows my body, like when something's off. So I'm like, okay, what am I doing different? Okay, I'm doing this diet now. And so I start looking into what causes migraines, bacon, chocolate, and I'm like, well, I've always ate that, never had a problem with that. And then I find aspartame, and then I start researching aspartame and how like the Food and Drug Administration, yeah, I really love Yates, yeah. the Food and Drug Administration had actually didn't want to put aspartame through, and then I think it was Reagan pushed it through for whatever, all the money.
Sounds very Reaganish.
Yeah, and but there's like crazy studies, like back when there was Gulf War syndrome, one of the theories was it actually was aspartame poisoning, that it would sit out in the sun and it would come, like it would do something to the aspartame in the drink. So
like formaldehyde or some shit.
Yeah. So a week goes by. I hadn't had any problems. I was dating this girl, Cho, at the time. Chorang. So Cho, I have another reaction. I feel the numbness happening again, starting to go in my head. Go to the hospital. I'm telling the guy, I found out they'd given me Imitrex, which is what they usually give you when you have migraines, and that makes me throw up. I'm having an allergic reaction to that. So I remember the nurse, I can't talk. I can just kind of like grunt and motion for whatever reason. So this nurse is like, I'm trying to tell him that I'm feeling sick. I'm like, and the guy's like, he's giving me the lip service. He's like, yeah. Okay, well, we got to bring you over here. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, okay, cool. And so in my head, I was just like, all right. And so I just fucking threw up and he was so pissed, but I was like, I'm trying to tell you. So, after I throw up again, I'm clear again. And I was meeting with him and the neurologist, and I was asking him, I was like, could this be aspartame poisoning? He's like, I mean, you maybe had an allergic reaction to aspartame, but I wouldn't think that it would. San Francisco said I need a medical alert bracelet. How dare you? But he was like, it might be the aspartame, but I wouldn't think it shouldn't stay in your system this long. But all this shit I read about the aspartame poisoning, it's like bad shit. Fuck. So another week goes by. I'm with Cho. I start having another one. I actually was at her place, and I remember, and this one was the first time I had the actual headache. And I was like, oh, this is what a migraine is. Like the lights, everything. I'm like, don't talk to me. Just leave me in this room alone. Lights off. I'm going to just chill. And then I remember I met with the neurologist one more time after. They put me on this medicine that's like, I think they give for stroke people or people that have had strokes, like some type of blood thinner or something. Mm-hmm. And I told him after that the migraine one where I actually had the headache, I told him, I think I'm done. And he's like, nah. And he's like, I think we should keep you on this. I was like, I really think I'm done. And this was when I was doing MMA. So like the medicine they were giving me was making me loopy anyways. And, you got to have right distance and angles when you're fighting and shit. Right. So I just kind of weaned myself off of it slowly. And then, haven't had it ever again. And I just avoid aspartame. Like if I had to stick a gum with aspartame, I'd probably be fine. But yeah, I remember one time at the parlor, I think you were there. I think I told you. I drank something like a soda, not knowing it had aspartame in it. I remember that. Yeah. And I told you, I go, look, I think I'll be fine, but if I start not being able to talk, you got to take over and cover on the thing. And I think you were like, okay, you fucking weirdo. What the fuck?
Oh man, fucking yeah, it's crazy. But I'm with Sandy 100%. You got to be your biggest advocate, and for hopefully if you go to the doctor, you can talk. And I don't think it was Red Bull.
No, it was like diet. It was like diet. I don't think it was Diet 7-Up. It might have been Diet Sprite, but it was like a diet soda. It was some type of Coke or something way back in the day.
Man, that is wild.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Got us a little sidetracked.
No. Yeah, it's good. We talked about the whole body, the spiritual, the physical, and the love.
Yes.
So, where do we leave off? So you would leave it to your account.
Oh yeah. I would leave it to all you guys, or maybe I'd have you guys co-do it. You and Sean.
Yeah, I could see that. Like I take it one week, he takes it another week. We're responsible. And so I feel like Sean would be hooking you up with all the cool shit. You know what I mean? I'd be trying to find all the illegal cheap shit on there. Yeah. And so
Natasha said, so with all the martial arts, you've not considered concussions as the migraine cause, perhaps heightened by the aspartame. I don't think so, because all the years I played sports and martial arts, I think I only had one concussion, and it happened playing basketball. We used to have a coach that had a drill. I think he used to call it gorilla ball. I think that's what he used to say, but it was basically, well, he was a black coach, so we were like, we'll let it slide. But he had us, no shit. Sorry. I know if this is boring, guys, I can just
no, this is great. This is amazing.
but I had a concussion. The drill was we stayed inside the key, and you had to score, I think, 5 times in a row, but there was no rules. People could fucking foul the shit out of you. And I remember I took a fucking hit and in my temple, and I was like loopy from it. But I never got any concussions fighting in the ring. I remember one time the fight at the basketball court, I think I got a concussion there way back. Man.
I mean, I think we all know that feeling of being hit in the head, but I don't think I've ever had a concussion. It's like, I guess you would know if you had one, right? Like, or I don't know.
I'm sorry, who are you? That's a great question though, Natasha, but I'm trying to catch up on these. Divine said I had a friend whose dude had a weird reaction like that from drinking a ton of Red Bull. I think Red Bull has, some of it has aspartame. The diet Red Bull 100% has aspartame. Regular does not.
Wings.
Scotty said I can't have caffeine anymore and it sucks. I'm the guy that holds up the line at Starbucks asking for decaf. And said 40 minutes of Jay's medical history. Sorry, Ann. Yeah.
Oh man. I'm just impressed. It isn't longer, being that you're in your mid 50s. You are not in your mid-50s.
What isn't longer? My my medical history.
Medical history.
Or my cock.
That's so stupid. Oh man. Yeah, no, I mean, shit is crazy. It's like that's the body's process, right? You kind of just you're able to do so much shit when you're young. You eat anything, you drink anything, and then as you get older, it just kind of breaks down.
So. This is you don't always know if you suffered a concussion. Ideally, you have a baseline to compare, but that's more for the athletes. Yeah, I'm definitely not an athlete. Gorilla ball, not gorilla ball. Gorilla ball. What do you barbecuing it? You are. I mean, I definitely know I had a concussion playing the basketball thing, and like you're not supposed to go to sleep and all that other shit. That just brought me up or made me think of something. We're talking about allergies and stuff. What would be the one thing? I apologize to everybody. I feel like I'm getting us off track.
No, you're good. You're good.
Off track. What would be the one thing? Would be the worst thing for you to become allergic to?
Oh shit, probably vagina, man. I'd be pissed.
I mean, I meant a food, but you also eat that. So
yeah. I don't care about that ass though, because we ain't eating that. Let's see. The worst thing to be allergic to. I mean, I feel like it would be something like macaroni and cheese, but I mean,
really?
No, I think I'm with Divine Equinox. Probably sugar. I'd be fucking upset about, because sugar's in so many different things, right? So you think about bread, you think about noodles, you think about even some of like, I don't know. There's just I'll say sugar. What about you?
See, I was thinking like a specific, like
like a specific food,
like
or like
teriyaki or so, or,
oh yeah,
but that's sugar. That would be. I mean, I am sweet enough.
Gross.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay,
sugar might be it, because that is in so much pasta, bread.
Okay, let's say one type of food that you would be depressed if you were allergic to it.
It probably, if you really want to do a blanket, Asian, because I love like Chinese food, I love Japanese food.
I'm with you. Yeah, if I couldn't have sushi, like fucking God, my brain's just fried. Like just fried rice, noodles, all that shit. I'd be devastated. Okay, let me ask you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, Sandy. That's what I was. If you were allergic to chicken or cheese, yes.
Yeah, that'd be awful. God,
Leah,
dick. Oh man. All right.
Divine and Natasha, you're talking about the food, not the people, right? I mean, I get it. Tammy Joe gets it.
Beach, are you allergic to me now?
I mean, I love soul food.
You are not invited to the cookout anymore. Let's see. And around the time I turned 21, I became allergic to pistachios. No shit.
You must have been pissed.
I see what you did there. Okay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
I know we talked about it briefly last week, but with the school shooting things, I started thinking about it. Should parents be held accountable for their kids during school shootings?
I think it depends on the scenario. I think each one has to be looked at individually.
I agree.
Like if I got my child a gun for their 15th birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe they have like certain things they're saying and I don't ever act on them, then yeah, I might be responsible. But if they got the gun from somebody on the street and then went crazy,
then that's on
I
them,
don't think I don't think that should be.
That's exactly what I think. I also think that if you're like the person who owns a gun, but you're not responsible with them and locking them up, and then all of a sudden the kid goes to school with it, I think that that should be looked at. So, yeah, it was just interesting. There was one of my coworkers said that her daughter's school actually had a lockdown pretty recently, or actually this week, because there was another student who had gone to school with a gun and also had been writing crazy shit all over, Instagram. So I don't know, man. I heard this, and I know this is also going to kind of get us off track, but I guess a lot of people at fast food restaurants have been quitting just because they can't deal with people coming in and they're so demanding. I don't know if it's quarantine. I don't know if it's, just as we get further on in time, people are just losing their shit. But I guess people are becoming irate at certain restaurants and being like, I fucking wanted pickles on this. Where's my shit now? And
dude,
so people are just walking out and saying,
I would love to be in one of those places when someone is having one of their spats or, fucking freakouts, just to be like, hey, fucking chill the fuck out.
Yeah, man. But then, you also run the case of like, does this person have a fucking gun up there? You know what I mean? And you check them and they're like, what'd you say? I'm like, it's just a burger. Fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even to just be like, hey, man, I'll buy your lunch. Just go easy on this fucking high schooler.
Yeah, who's making minimum wage and getting shit on. I agree with you 100%, Robert. I think parents need to be more nosy and be in their kids' shit and, know what's going on. And I think discipline's lacking. I have some friends that just don't discipline their kids and they're just like, oh, they're fine. And it's like, no, your kid is terrorizing everybody at this party right now. So
N said, what would you do if your child commits a felony? Do you turn them in? Oh, okay. Miles.
Damn.
Miles commits a felony. Let's see. What felony should we do? Larceny. Grand larceny. Is that a felony?
Remind me what larceny is again.
It's a body part on larcen.
Yuck.
Like theft. Somebody Miles steals
right.
enough that it's a felony.
No, I'm not gonna turn him in. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna put it on him though. I'm gonna be like, are you turn yourself in? I'm gonna let you know what I mean. It depends how big the theft is though. If he robbed a bank, I'm like, motherfucker, that's your ass. Like,
he robs the bank you work at.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm just like, I can't. It's so tough because as a parent,
dude.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. Like, okay, let's say you had a kid and he, you found out that he robbed somebody, right, at gunpoint. Do you turn him in?
Boo, Jay. Boo. I agree. It's pretty quick though. Larson's knee.
Yeah. I feel like N needs to come up with our questions weekly because you have some on point questions.
Yeah, N said murder. So, okay, man. If it's a victimless crime, let's say, like there's psychological things that will affect someone if you rob a bank, like that could fuck them up if they work there and stuff. But maybe let's say didn't have a weapon, just had a note saying I have a weapon, but didn't and got away with it. But I don't know if I'm like, hey man, you might want to go to Mexico now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Natasha, it's M-I-L-E-S, so you spelled it right. It's so tough because it's like you love your kid, but also I hope that I've raised him better than that, but it's also I want to instill that it's like, yo, man, like if you do something wrong, like I have to, like if it was murder, I'd be like, dude, I got to turn my kid in because this fool might murder me next. You know what I mean? But
what he goes, Dad, it was self-defense.
Oh, fuck, man, that's a tough one, right? Because here's the thing.
Do you trust the
I don't trust the system enough. I don't trust the justice system because he has a little bit of tint on him. You know what I mean? If he was white, then maybe, but it's like everybody knows being a black man in society is a little tougher. It's like things may not go your way. So I may not turn him in for that. So I don't know.
Michael said, if they rob someone, I'm not turning them in. Crime needs to be a lot harder. And Victoria said, what's the worst crime he could do and you would snitch?
Oh, yeah. If I found out that he sexually assaulted somebody, I couldn't, I've
It's
known
so
people who've
crazy.
been sexually assaulted, and I'm just like, I can't stand behind somebody for that.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it goes back to Ensign. What about you and Quarren? I think it goes back to like what you were saying is you would hope that he's not ever going to be in one of these situations,
Right.
you know, because of how you raise him. Yeah, it's fucking. Oh,
I mean, okay,
God.
think about this, right? And this is a random ass scenario. We know your child most likely would look like my child, right? So it's going to be a mixed kid if you had one. And let's say a cop pulls him over and the cop is getting aggressive and the cop pulls a gun on him and is about ready to fire and he shoots it. Your kid misses and drops his gun and your kid picks up the gun and shoots the cop. But, it kills the cop.
Oh yeah.
But they don't know who did it. Are you turning your son in?
Oh my. Man.
I probably would.
I might tell him to run.
Yeah.
And I would oh, fuck, dude. This is such a.
I mean, this is a random.
These are like hard.
This is a crazy movie scenario that doesn't really happen in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the first thought is you kill a cop, you're done.
You're done.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is someone that comes from a family of cops, just so people know.
Right.
You know, my uncle, my grandparents, both my grandfathers, grandmother worked in the records department and stuff. But my kid, something, there's a whatever happened, and it is the cop's fault, but maybe they don't have video of it. The guy's camera wasn't on. Or even if they do, maybe
they just have the audio or something. But here's what I do. I always had this in my mind, and this was, of course, I wouldn't really do this, but this is my scenario, right? And this is so they're looking for him, and he's innocent. You find a cadaver his exact size. You put it in the car. You blow up the car so that they can't trace dental records. And you're like, my child.
I just love that you're like, do you just get the cadaver down at Walmart? I wouldn't know who I call the local funeral home.
I would hopefully find somebody at the funeral home.
But I honestly, I would, yeah. If I was going to tell him to run, this is a few things. If that's the route we decide, I mean, I'm like, I would say, okay, you got to run. You're not going to tell me. I don't want to know where you're going to go because I want to have was it deniability? What is it?
Plausible deniability.
Yeah. So when they're like, where do you go? I don't know. And I'd be like, you, and I'm never going to ask you where you went, and you can't. We got to create some distance and some time for people to think and look at this videos if there are videos and stuff. But I mean, fuck, man, it's so it's tough, man, because you want to be like, you're innocent. We'll let it, let the justice system. But fuck, dude, think
about this. That Brian Laundrie, or was that his name, Brian Laundrie, or the one who killed the girl remember, and then they found his body in the forest or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, you want to believe your kid 100%, man, but it's like, fuck, you just know he's gonna be in forever. And even if I know that the scenario's too detailed, but I mean, if I found out that they killed somebody, man, I don't know if I could stand behind that. It's like, you love your kid, but I guess until you're there, you don't fucking know. That's just I want to ask San Francisco 49er girl, like, because she's got a 10-year-old, and it's like, she's known her kid longer than I've known mine. I'm just getting to know him. I mean, so Miles, he could be a jerk to me in the next couple of years. But no, I mean, it's just it's a tough one. If I knew he was innocent, I'm with you. I'd be like, all right, leave your phone here. I love you. Don't write. You know what I mean? Fuck, man.
Block your number whenever you call.
Exactly.
And keep it under a minute, because they're
they're tracing me, and call from them.
You can write me, maybe email. I don't know. But the other thing too is I would have to sit down and be like, I need to look you in the eyes, and you need to tell me what happened. Right. And I need to know that you're not at fault.
Exactly.
And I'd tell I'd be like, dude, you got to be 100% honest, whatever it is. Yeah. Because I need to know what I'm about to tell you to do.
Leah's probably been listening to that Tupac and Biggie song where he said we had to grow dreads to change our description. And so, I mean, do you think moms are different than dads? I think so. I think a mom will stick by her son no matter what. You know what I mean? I think a dad is like, motherfucker, what'd you do? Just like, I don't know.
Dude, that's
Like,
yeah.
and I think it's different for a mom because a mom has carried this kid for 9 months, right? So it's like there's also that deep connection, and I don't fucking know. Let's see. I just talked to her about brown, black, and knowing that people will assume her guilt because of her color. It's sad but true. It is. It's like as much as you want to believe somebody is going to be held to the same standard, unfortunately, we're just not there yet as a society, and we see it time and time again. Which is, I mean, who's the girl who was a prostitute and killed the guy who was like,
oh
trafficking her,
yeah.
and she's in jail?
Divine said my mom would dime my ass out. Yeah, we never did talk. Is there a reward?
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. 50 grand.
No, it also goes back to like you were saying about, you know, you would hope the way like that Miles is prepped. Like I
Right.
you know, I remember growing up, my family of cops would always tell me like when getting pulled over, and this was relayed to Matt and Mark, who I don't want to get into that story, but Matt and Mark are like brothers to me. They're both black, and it's a long story, but like I lived with them growing up and they live with me and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I love them. They're family. But this was relayed to me and them as we were growing up, is that when a cop pulls you over, pull all the way over so that they have enough clearance on the driver's side, roll down your window and also the back window, because they want to be able to look in and see that there's nothing on their hands at 10 and 2. Announce everything you're doing, announce and verify that it's okay to do before you do anything that, you know, so the cop knows that you're, you know, okay, I got to reach here. Is it okay if I reach for my license here? It's in the middle console. Yes. Okay. I'm going to do it with my right hand. I'm going, you know, and all that shit, which I don't know if a lot of people are, I mean, and I don't know if it's because my family are, so many of them are cops that I was taught this.
Right.
But it's you know, it's good to know. I remember Matt. I think you might know the story, dude. When like right out of high school, there was some racist fuck that lived in Matt's apartment, and he pulled out a knife, stabbed Matt, stabbed him. He's bleeding. The cops show up and they fucking handcuff Matt and put him in the squad car as he's bleeding.
Fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, and it's like, even Philandro Castile, he said, he was like, I have a gun on me, and didn't reach for it or anything, and the guy just shot him X amount of times. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not saying every cop is bad. I'm not saying, you know, there's still good cops out there, but you know, they have found actually, Crystal and I were just reading something about some cops in LA where they found that some really racist text messages were going on. Like the Klan has infiltrated some
Jesus
of,
Christ.
you know, some police departments, and, you know, leaving swastikas on other cops' lockers and shit. You know, it's to the point where it's like, you don't know if you can trust the legal system. Some judges aren't for you, you know. Fuck, man. There was even, last thing I'll talk about, I know we got to start wrapping up, but
There was a wild episode.
It has been a wild episode. There was a football player who had dated this girl who was, I believe, 2 years younger than him. And I don't remember what the first charge was. He got off with the first charge because it was a bullshit charge. But then they got him for being 2 years older and having sex with this girl who was white. And he got locked up for like 2 or 3, or like, I think it was like a year and a half. And then he finally got out. And now he's like a coach for the LA Rams. But because of all that, he wasn't able to get a job. He wasn't able to be looked at because he still carried the sexual assault charge. And it was because this racist district attorney was just like, no, I'm throwing the book at him because of, you know, dude, it's an interracial relationship.
I watched the documentary. This isn't a race thing. Well, it was a race thing, but the victims in this were white dudes. But the Duke lacrosse team, have you seen that documentary
where they relied on? I just
dude, what made me think about it is you were saying, I think the district attorney, he was running for something, and so he just ignored evidence because he wanted to make a point that they were going to get these Duke lacrosse players when there was all this evidence that they were 100% innocent. It's fucking wild. Dude. I was going to ask you, have you ever been pulled over? And because a lot of comics have the story of where they got pulled over, and they tell the cop, "Oh, I'm a comic. I was doing this or whatever," and then the cop's like, "All right, tell me a joke."
No. So it was back when I was in a music group, and they pulled over the car, and they were like, "Y'all is a band. Why don't y'all sing?" And so I was like, I got nothing but love for you, baby. 5 heartbeats. No,
Yeah,
we were
your buddy behind you just having, I got nothing but love
for you, baby. No, yeah, we got pulled over when I was 19, and there was this Indian
before
kid
comedy.
before comedy.
Oh yeah,
And there was this Indian kid that we used to hang out with that was just like, the dude he wasn't right in the mind, and he always did shit just to get a laugh out of people. Like, he was the kind of person who you'd be walking down the street and he'd kick in somebody's window, like in the car, and we're just like, what the fuck was that for? So we ended up like not hanging out with him after a while. But we went to this party. He had like 7 bags of weed on him, had a beer. You know, we're all underage. While the cops are pulling us over, he tries to shove the beer under his seat. The cops think that he's reaching for a gun, and they draw guns on the car and have them pointed at our head. Like, by the grace of God, I am still here. You know what I mean? Thank God that nobody in that Puyallup Police Department had an itchy trigger finger, because there was probably 5 of us in that car, and it was like a white guy, a black guy, another mixed black guy, an Indian guy, and an Asian guy. And it was just like, fuck, man, it happened all so fast. We just got like dragged out of the fucking car. But it's scary, man, looking down the barrel of a gun, like.
The reason I was asking if you've ever got pulled over as a comic, for the first time in 14 years that I've been doing stand-up, happened to me this last weekend in Arizona. I'm coming back from Flagstaff, Arizona to Phoenix, which is like a 2-hour-ish drive. And it's 55 and I'm doing 80. Dude, I'm doing 80. I'm driving and I see the cop right as I'm passing him, and I just say I was with Kane and Justin Tejan, and I go up. I'm done. I'm fucked. I'm doing 80, and so you never slam on the brakes, because then obviously that's like a mission of guilt. So
you're right.
I just start lowering the cruise control, and I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and as soon as I see his lights on, I just start laughing. I go, should I just pull over? Just to be like, I was like, I just won't pull over. So I get in the right lane for a while. He finally comes up behind me, and he's following us for about a minute. Finally turns his lights on. And I was like, yeah. So I pull over again, far to the right, lower both windows. And as he's pulling up, Kane says that I stunned him, because I fucking didn't let him get a word in edgewise. As he's walking up, I say to him, I was like, yeah, we were going to pull over way back then, because when you saw me, I was like, yeah, we're done. And he's like, where's the, what do you say? Where's the hurry?
Where's the fire?
Yeah, where's the fire?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're comics. We just did a show. We're trying to get back to Phoenix. He's like, you're comics, huh? And I go, yeah. And I was saying, because I think cops, I'll tell you a story I had with this judge one time, but cops, they're so used to everybody being like, I wasn't doing it, or just denying it or whatever. I let them know. I was like, oh yeah, I'm caught. You got me. So I'm like, there's no point me denying it. So I'm going to have fun. So I was like not being a smartass, but I was cracking jokes. And then he's like getting my information. And I said, or he says, he finally goes, comics. And he goes, I'll tell you what, if you can make me laugh, I'll let you guys off with a warning.
Oh shit.
And I was like, I go, oh shit. And he goes, but I don't like crude humor. And I go, oh fuck. So I tell him the guest of size joke. And when I get to the, you wouldn't tell a blind person since you're a guest of darkness, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And he laughed it. And I was like, it's a laugh. And so he goes back to his car, and we're sitting there, and then when he comes back up, he's like, I go, dude, I'll go 20 miles an hour on my way home. And then he's saying something, and he was gone for like 5 minutes. So I told him, I was like, yeah, man, I was going to drive really slow on the way home, but you kind of took a while. So I kind of have to like, luckily you didn't hear me. Kane heard me, and he was like, dude, quit fucking pushing your luck.
Yeah. But shit, hilarious.
Yeah. I definitely was like, oh yeah, it's probably helpful that we are all white. Well, Kane's part native. And, and Justin had muscular dystrophy, so that
Jesus Christ. All I gotta say is that just shows you where we are as comics. Sometimes we were looking, I think we've talked about this before on the podcast, but we were doing some ghost hunting and it was damn near midnight, I think. And Jay's like, should we all go ask the cop for, like, can we go in here? I'm like, you two fuckers can go ask if there's, if we can go in this haunted house, but I'm not going up to a cop at 2 a.m. or wherever and so.
Yeah, I'll tell you when we can get out of here. Again, this has been all over the place, and I'll take fault for it. Kay said she offered a cop a French fry to get out of a ticket. Did it work, Kay? And then Jeff said, BS Jeffrey said, got surrounded by 5 cops' cars on the sidewalk in front of a friend's house as they watched from inside, wondering what the hell I did. Mistaken identity.
Oh, I just want to respond to Victoria's. Do you have any issue scenarios that you already want to teach Miles? Yes. Be careful of the company you keep because they'll bring you down with you. And that's the scenario of when I went to jail that one time.
So my judge's story, another speeding story. So this is when I was living in Renton, South Renton or South Seattle, the place that was on the water. So I had a speeding ticket. So I'm in court, and they say you always go to court for a speeding ticket, so because it'll get knocked down. Right. So I'm watching everybody before me, and 2 people before me, this person goes up for speeding, and they're given some horseshit excuse, and they're trying to weasel out of it, blah blah blah. And because of that, the judge was like, "Oh no, guilty." And the girl paid the same amount that she was charged with. Guy right before me got charged with using the carpool lane on 405. 405, and so he, the judge is like, how do you plead? The guy's like, not guilty, and the judge is like, okay, state your case. And the person was like, well, the cop that pulled me over was from Bellevue. I was no, it didn't, but I didn't get a ticket either. Oh, you got a warning. That's great.
Oh, nice,
Sandy. So this person was like, yeah, this officer that pulled me over for carpool violation, they're from Bellevue, and I was in Issaquah, or whatever the city, Renton, and so they don't they were out of their jurisdiction. This judge was like, oh, okay, that's your case here, and he just fucking broke it down. He was like, guilty, full amount. So after I've watched all these people try and weasel, I go up, the judge goes, how do you plead? And I go, you know what, Your Honor, after watching everybody, I plead guilty. The judge goes, you plead guilty? I go, yeah, I've watched it. He's like, you don't want to state your case? I was like, I mean, I can tell you that I just moved to the neighborhood and I didn't know the speed limit, but I mean, I did the crime, so I'm guilty of it. And he knocked my shit down to like $20.
Wow.
And he was like, case dismissed. I was like, bye, bitches.
Yeah. So good. Oh, man.
Big Daddy Chris, and then we'll get out of here. Big Daddy Chris said, I got pulled over for speeding a few weeks ago on my way to the airport. I was going 15 over. The cop just gave me a warning because I was honest, and probably because I had my mom in the car. Yeah. I think the cops have heard everything. And, I think majority of the interactions that, is somebody going to be in like, bullshit, I wasn't speeding or denying. And I think if you are just like I just tried to make him laugh. I was like, I'm caught, I'm fucked, so why not have some fun? What are you laughing at?
I'm just thinking about my excuse if like the cop was like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I'll just be like, I have syphilis. I don't know, just something that makes no sense, and just see if it works.
You should go like this. What? I'm blind.
I don't have any feet.
Yeah. Okay. What's our plugs, and then let's go over everything. Corrected delivery.
Teaser for next week. So plugs. 2022 is approaching. Probably will be jumping back in to do some comedy soon. So I apologize to all the bookers that reached out for New Year's. But next year I will be getting back into it. Outside of that, just make sure you catch us on Love and Black and White next week, and then also the Hollingsworthless podcast. I don't know why syphilis. It just seems like an old disease that should be curable. You know what I mean? And if you
like, I had gangrene.
Yeah, exactly.
Bubonic plague. Okay, so I have, let's see, tomorrow I'm at the Orleans here in Vegas at 2 p.m. Should be interesting. This weekend I'm at the what's the name? Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. Kodo Brewery in Twin Falls, Idaho this weekend. Next weekend, Plano, Texas at House of Comedy. And then the week of Christmas, the 20th through the 26th, I'm at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club here in Vegas. And let's do a teaser. We
Yes. All right.
by the way, if anybody's like, Jesus, this is nothing about it's my fault. I'll take all of it. I'm sorry.
Whatever. Sometimes it's going to be off the rails. Sometimes it'll be on point, but for the most part, we love just being here with you guys. So for our teaser, since we're
I like
go ahead.
this one.
Go for it.
Sorry, I just hit it. Is it? I just moved it to the top. Do you see what is the best?
Yes, that was actually the one I was going to do.
Perfect.
So
We'll do it.
Jay, what is the best romance movie? That's part one of the question. And because it's the holidays, what is the best Christmas movie?
Yes. And can I tell you, this is something I said to Sean the other day.
Yeah.
It's related to this. I think it's I want to try and figure out how to put this into a bit without it sounding so fucked up, but I don't like It's a Wonderful Life, and I don't like the show Happy Days because there's no black people on those shows or in movies, and they're like, "Oh, this is a wonderful life." Happy days, no black people. But then you could also say there's a black show where they're like, no white people, good times. Okay, on that note, I love you all. And we'll until next week.
The love back in your right. It's Love in Black and White. And the remix hits you